Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Two Gods Summoned to a Fantasy World by BenGrem1234. Chapter 17. Khloe vs. Lilith. Final battle. After Khloe has released her turn null energy, she got into a battle stance while Lilith glared at her. "This will be my full power, Lilith. If you have anything you can use, now will be the time to use it," Khloe gave her final warning. "Don't get cocky just because you used a strange power, goddess Khloe," Lilith said to her in anger. "Don't say I didn't warn you, because from now on, I won't hold back anymore." Khloe dashed at Lilith and her speed increased, which Lilith barely followed. Once she reached Lilith, Khloe slashed her sword at her, but Lilith raised her hand, which she covered in her darkness, and used it to block Khloe's slash, or tried to at least. Due to the fact that Khloe is being powered by turn null energy and that her sword is covered by it, she easily cut through Lilith's hand using her sword, and this greatly shocked Lilith. Lilith jumped back immediately after she saw her hand being cut by Khloe. She glared at Khloe as she tried to regenerate her severed hand, but try as she might, her hand would not regenerate. "Why can't I regenerate my arm?" Lilith asked in confusion. Khloe smirked at her. "I told you that this energy returns everything to nothing. Your hand has been returned to how it should have been, which is nothingness. Nothing can heal from a wound inflicted by this energy." Lilith got worried after hearing that explanation. If what Khloe said is true, then her life is in danger if she is directly hit by that energy. As Lilith was thinking of a countermeasure, Khloe appeared in front of her without her even perceiving Khloe's movement. "Shit. She has gotten tremendously faster than before. I can't follow her speed at this rate," Lilith thought to herself in alarm. Khloe used the opportunity of Lilith's distraction to kick her in the jaw with her full strength, which sent Lilith flying through the sky at light speed until she crashed into the moon and caused a massive destruction on the moon with her impact. Lilith could not believe the physical strength of Khloe. She was very thankful of her darkness, which is the only reason Khloe's kick did not separate her head from her body. At the last second before Khloe kicked her, Lilith used her darkness to strengthen her skin and made it as hard as it can be, which is why her head is still attached to her body even after receiving Khloe's full-powered kick. She stood up and discovered that she was no longer in her world but on the moon. "Unbelievable. To think that she sent me flying to the moon with only a kick," Lilith said to herself in astonishment. As she was still trying to understand what was happening, Khloe appeared next to her with her sword raised and ready to slash her. Lilith, with her sheer instinct, was able to jump out of the way, which left Khloe's sword to crash at the floor of the moon. The moment Khloe's sword crashed on the moon, it got sliced in half due to the force of Khloe's sword. Lilith looked in shocked as the moon was sliced in two by the goddess that was after her life. She didn't have time to think because Khloe was already looking at her. "My darkness will no longer work on her as her power is erasing them on contact. I have to condense it in other to W," and Lilith thought to herself. She used her darkness to create an artificial arm for the arm she lost. After she did that, she began to gather all her darkness to a single point in her new darkness arm. The darkness she was concentrating was taking the shape of a scythe in her new hand. It took a few minutes, but Lilith was able to gather all her darkness into the shape of a scythe, which she now wielded in her hand as she faced Khloe. Khloe and Lilith looked at each other as they kept floating in space. Some might be asking how they are breathing in space. The answer to that is quite simple when you think about it. The two beings are goddesses who are above spiritual entity that are above death. Things like breathing is meaningless to the two of them as they are above such concept. Khloe looked at Lilith. "Let's end this fight. I couldn't agree more with you," Lilith said to her. They both rushed each other with their full speed and crashed their weapons at each other. A scythe of darkness versus a sword of nothingness. Both energy were very devastating if not handled well. The scythe of darkness made up of darkness that was able to affect the entire multiverse, and the sword of nothingness that is surrounded by the chaotic energy of nothing. A clash between this two energy was something no one has ever seen. When Khloe's sword and Lilith's sword clashed with each other, a massive shocked wave was released which kept expanding as it traveled. Multiple planets and asteroids exploded when the shockwave passed through them, and multiple galaxies collapsed as well. The reason Albion, A.N. that will be the name of the planet that Rimuru and Khloe got summoned to, did not blow up as well as because Rimuru was surrounding it with his energy. Despite this chain of destruction, Khloe and Lilith kept on exchanging slashes at a ridiculous speed, not caring about the destruction of the universe they were fighting in. By this point, the two were way beyond the speed of measuring, yet they didn't stop slashing at each other. Khloe clashed her sword with Lilith's sword once more, but something was different and Lilith could feel it. It showed when Khloe easily overpowered Lilith and sent her flying deep into space with tremendous force. Lilith crashed right into a star whose size dwarfed every other planets in the universe. After she crashed into the star, Lilith tried to stand up, but Khloe appeared right in front of her and kicked her in the stomach, which caused Lilith to crash more deeply inside the star. Khloe flew outside the star and concentrated a massive amount of turn null energy in her sword. She shot the energy she gathered at the star, which caused it to explode. The explosion was so big that the heat of the explosion was able to burn out some small planet that was nearby. Even with the heat of the explosion getting stronger, Khloe stood inside it as if the heat from an exploding star was nothing to her. She focused on finding Lilith because she knew that this level of attack was nowhere close enough to finish her off. And she was right, because a huge ball of darkness flew out of the explosion. The explosion died out as the ball of darkness opened itself to reveal Lilith inside with some burn wounds on her that was not regenerating for some reason. To think that you would blow up a star with me inside it. What kind of monster are you? Lilith shouted at Khloe. I told you that I won't hold back anymore. Prepare yourself, Lilith, because I'm coming at you even more seriously than before, Khloe said to her before she dashed at where Lilith was. Lilith knew that Khloe is stronger than her in terms of strength, and she knew that fighting Khloe at close range will be suicide, which is why she prepared her powers. She created an uncountable magic circle in front of her which began to fire all attributes of magic at Khloe. Darkness, light, fire, water, ice, earth, lava, acid, space, gravity, etc. All kinds of attribute were fired at Khloe at incredible speed, and their number were almost infinite. Looking at the magic spell that was approaching her, Khloe shouted, "Time shift." Immediately after she said that, all the spells changed direction and began to move to the opposite direction of where Khloe was moving. Time shift is the ability to change the directional time of an object to the location that the user of the ability wants. In this case, Khloe changed the direction of the spell to move anywhere besides where she is moving. Lilith, who was shocked that her spells were missing Khloe, did not have time to guard against Khloe, who was already in front of her. Khloe concentrated a huge amount of turn null energy into her sword, which she used to stab deep into the heart of the distracted Lilith. Lilith coughed up a huge amount of blood, which Khloe ignored as she pushed her sword deep into Lilith's heart. Lilith tried to get away, but she couldn't as she felt Khloe's sword erasing her inside, which was incredibly agonizing. She concentrated and shot her darkness inside Khloe's stomach, which distracted Khloe and gave her enough time to jump away from Khloe. Khloe reversed the time of her stomach wound before she looked at Lilith and readied her sword. This next attack should finish it. Lilith gnashed her bloody teeth as she glared at Khloe with rage. No need to reserve anything. I will unleash all my power in order to defeat you, Goddess Khloe. I will not lose to you or to anyone. Lilith then gathered what remained of her power into her hand for her final spell, Space Severance. As its name implies, the spell is meant for cutting through space to reach a target. In this case, Lilith sent an infinite number of slashes through space, all in the direction that Khloe was. Because of the sheer number of the slashes, which is infinite, so many remaining planet in the way got slashed to ribbons as the slashes kept moving at great speed to where Khloe was floating. Khloe closed her eyes and breathed in and out before she opened her eyes, which now has the symbol of a clock in them. Her pupils were replaced by a clock symbol which was glowing a bright golden color. With her new eyes opened, Khloe dashed to where Lilith was as she began to dodge all the space slashes that were coming at her. It was as if she can predict where the slash will appear before there appeared there. This was thanks to her new eyes, which allowed her to see the future to a certain extent. Lilith screamed as she sent more space slashes with an increased speed at the approaching Khloe, but she kept dodging all of them. Those Khloe couldn't dodge was cut down with her sword, which erased them on contact. She is cutting through space like it is nothing to her. What kind of monster have I challenged? She is a nightmare. Lilith said from the bottom of her heart how she felt. In no time at all, Khloe reached Lilith with her glowing sword. Lilith immediately covered herself with her darkness cocoon in order to protect herself from Khloe's attack. But Khloe ignored all this and slashed her sword, which cut through the darkness cocoon as if it was butter. With the darkness cocoon destroyed, Khloe's sword kept moving until it cut Lilith in two from the waist down. Lilith could not believe that she was severed in two, but before she can think, she saw Khloe getting ready for her next attack with her sword glowing with turn null energy. Khloe shot out the turn null energy that was in her sword at the body of Lilith, who was only watching without moving or reacting because of the shock of getting severed in two. As the energy was approaching her, Lilith could do nothing but watch as her end approaches. So this is it. I lost to this new goddess of time. If only I didn't underestimate her and made preparation ahead of time. I didn't even get the opportunity to challenge those elder gods. My long life has finally come to an end. Despite all the pain I've endured, it was a fun life. The turn null energy covered Lilith's entire body and returned her to nothing there by bringing an end to the vampire queen known as Lilith. Khloe began to breathe in and out after she confirmed that Lilith was gone. Some might wonder how she is breathing in and out in space. The answer to that is nobody knows. She is a deity, and to understand deities, you'll have to be one yourself. Khloe felt her vision getting blurry, but before she could collapse, she felt herself getting carried by someone. She turned and smiled to the one who was carrying her, which turned out to be Rimuru. This is the side effects of using turn null energy when you have not fully mastered it, Rimuru told the tired Khloe. I know, but I had no choice. I would not have beaten her if I didn't use this energy. Lilith was too strong. She is the strongest being besides you that I have ever fought, Khloe told him how she felt. I'm just glad that you managed to win, Khloe. You truly have gotten stronger than ever, Rimuru told her. I'm not there yet, Rimuru. I have to reach the level of your level before I can consider myself strong, and as I am now, I'm nowhere near close to reaching that goal, Khloe said in a tired voice. You will reach that goal, you know, and you will do it with your own power and not my help. I believe in you, Rimuru told her as he kissed her forehead. Khloe smiled as she snuggled into Rimuru and closed her eyes to rest. Rimuru began to carry her back to Albion, where the other were waiting for them. As Rimuru was flying back with Khloe to Albion, all the destroyed planet began to recreate themselves and all the damage began to fix itself. This was the power of Rimuru the Almighty as he recreated everything back to the way it was before. At long last, the battle with the vampires has come to an end, with the vampire queen and all her elites being the most significant casualties.